Today I'm going to teach you how to read tarot for your business intuitively without having to memorize the meaning of every single card, because let's face it, that's going to take a minute. Plus, I'm going to teach you how to make moves in your business with that same sense of intuition and trust in yourself. No more formulas, blueprints, or strategies that feel completely wrong for you, but the experts say that they work, so you do it anyway. We're not doing that anymore. You know what to do. So let's find out what you already know. Hi there, everybody. My name is Megan. I'm 30 years old. I am entering into my 5th year in business, and I am here to help the chaos gremlins get their businesses off the ground and get on the path to making 6 figures a year. You might be wondering what tarot has to do with that. And to that, I would say everything. So many business coaches nowadays promise you that you're going to make 6 figures if you just follow this blueprint, if you just follow this formula, if you just do what they say. And if I'm being honest, that really frustrates me, because if that were true, everyone would be making 6 figures their first year off the bat. Yes, their systems are going to work for some people, and their systems are not going to work for other people. So what's the better piece of business advice? Do what I say, or learn to listen to yourself? Now, obviously, I fall into that second camp. I think you should listen to yourself. But I also recognize that there are aspects of business that we're not just going to intuitively know. There is learning to be done, but when it comes to making decisions in your business and how you want to run things, what feels in alignment to you, nobody can tell you that. You've got to get quiet, reflect, and ask yourself what you want. And I think tarot is a great way to do that. So before we talk about how to read tarot for your business specifically, we need to talk about how to read tarot intuitively, how to read tarot in a way that's going to actually connect you to your intuition instead of just memorizing cards. So let's start with the High Priestess card. The first thing I tend to look at when I'm reading a card is color. This card is always interesting to me because it does have a very good balance of color. There's black, there's white, there's blue, there's yellow, there's green, there's even a little bit of red in those like pomegranate seeds behind her, if you can see that. So what do all of these colors mean? Blue generally is associated with water, which tends to be associated with emotion in the tarot. Then we've got yellow, which tends to represent abundance. This could be material wealth, but it could be abundance of other kinds as well. Then we have green, which often is a sign of life. It can also be a sign of grounding, right? Being very connected to the earth. Then we have white, which tends to be very ethereal, very airy, very intellectual. Then we also have gray. I guess this pillar could be considered either gray or white, but gray in the tarot tends to represent institutions. Then we have black, which can represent a bunch of different things, actually. It kind of depends on the way it interacts with other colors in the card. So for example, in the High Priestess, we see black on one side and white on another. To me, the black then is a part of this idea of binary thinking, of opposing ideas, opposing desires potentially. So black can function as an absolute. But in other cards, black might represent a void, an absence. It could represent possibility, sort of like the universe ever expanding. It can represent a lot of different things, and it tends to play off of the colors around it. The next thing you're going to want to consider in the tarot is the suit of the card. So there are going to be major arcana like the High Priestess that don't necessarily have a suit, but then you're going to have other cards like the Four of Wands, for example, and this is in the suit of wands. So wands tend to represent magic. Think of a magic wand. It literally represents your spirituality, your ties to the unseen, and actions that you take to connect yourself to your inner power. In the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith tarot like this, wands are also made of wood, which to me shows that they can be very grounding. They're of the earth. Then we have cups. This is the 7 of Cups, and cups tend to represent emotion, right? Our capacity for feeling. Cups hold water. Water tends to be emotional, so cups are emotional. That's kind of the way that I remember that. Next up, we have pentacles, which are easy to remember because they're almost always yellow. And as I mentioned before, yellow is associated with abundance and pentacles are associated with abundance. And finally, we have swords. Now, swords are a little misunderstood in my opinion. I think a lot of times they're viewed as a really negative thing, partially because they're very sharp and very dangerous, but when wielded correctly, they can be very powerful. So swords tend to represent challenge or intellect. Even though many of us don't love being challenged, there's no need to panic when you see a sword because challenges are just part of life and the tarot is just telling us what's up. So now you kind of have a basic understanding of how to intuitively read tarot. So how can you intuitively read tarot for your business? Personally, I've been loving a 3-card spread recently that looks at your mindset in your business, your sales in your business, and the impact your business is having in the world. I actually offer this 3-card spread in a 30-minute live Zoom reading for just $25. If you're interested, go check out the link in the description. I have found this really helpful because mindset is huge when it comes to business. How do you feel about your business? Very emotional, very cups. And then sales is very practical, very pentacles, abundance based. And then we have our impact. What is the impact your business is having in the world? And I think these are the 3 things that most business owners worry about a lot of the time is, am I having fun in my business? Is this even worth it, right? That's kind of the mindset stuff. Sales, like, can I afford to keep doing this? How do I make more money? And then also, am I doing good in the world? Am I putting something helpful out there? So I think these are the 3 things most business owners worry about. And I would love to do a reading for you over Zoom for 30 minutes for those 3 cards. So feel free to go ahead and schedule that below. What I love about reading tarot in my business is that it reminds me that I can't control everything. No matter how hard I try, no matter how many formulas I invent or blueprints I follow, there's an element of business that is completely unpredictable and uncontrollable. And this can feel really scary sometimes. And the tarot really helps me feel grounded in, okay, there are elements I can't control, but I can still influence them. So for example, you can't guarantee that you're going to make a certain number of sales every single month. That's just part of the territory of being an entrepreneur, that your income tends to go up and down. However, we can influence the number of sales we make by how many times we make an offer, how often we tell people what we have on sale. And we can influence our monthly income by maybe setting up payment plans, for example, that helps spread out the payment to create a more consistent income across the months. I just want to leave you with this. You know the way forward. Everything you need to make the next best decision is already within you. You just have to start to actually trust yourself to make that decision. Trust the discomfort, trust yourself, and I'll see you next time.